Hey, Nate. So I wanted to ask you, like, being a small town guy, being from a small town, and kind of being like the pride of everybody in that area. I guess, like, how unique of a position is that to be in? To be like everybody knows who you are, everybody knows how you play and perform. How do you kind of handle that?
I think it's a pretty cool experience. Um, I enjoy it. I enjoy all of my friends and my family who always either text me or call me, after a game or whenever, and just ask, how we're doing or how I'm doing. And we also have uh, a linebacker as well, Lakia Henry. He starts at Ole Miss right now, and so that's another small hometown name. It feels good, and I'm sure he would say the same. It feels good to represent for Badea because not many D1 athletes have come out of Badea. So,
Hey, Nate, I was wondering if you could tell us what some of the differences are between your past kicker, Rodrigo, and your new kicker, Jack Bud Lesney, specifically with how, Rodrigo is sort of a legend around the Georgia program.
yeah, definitely. Rod, he was a different breed. He was, crazy with the kicks and anything you asked of him, he would do it. I think Jack is the same way though. Um, he was up under Rod. He got to learn all of his tricks, and he got to learn how he would do things. And Jack has come a long way, and I think he's a pretty good kicker. And he proved that in the Arkansas game, and he's been proving that in practice. That's why he's starting. So if he continues to work, he might have a shot at the NFL too.
Mike Griffith, then Dean Legge, please.
Yeah, Nate, can you talk a little bit about the work you got in there at Arkansas and how you feel like you've improved since last season there?
Yeah, it was. I had fun going into the Arkansas game. It's always fun getting in on defense. I made 2 tackles. Coming from last season, my weight has dropped a little bit. I don't think it's a huge deal. I'm still fast. I'm still physical. That's how I was raised up, and that's how the coaches teach us here. Um, I would say from last year to this year, I think that, mentally I'm, more prepared for the games or more prepared for practice. Things are a little bit easier to see. And that comes with the maturity of the game and, getting reps. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've seen in myself from last year to this year.
Nate, you're one of the guys with a lot of talent that probably could start at several other places, and yet you stay at Georgia. We've seen a lot of guys that have stayed at Georgia rather than hit the portal. Can you talk about the decision to stay and compete for playing time rather than go somewhere where you could probably start right away?
Yeah, well, I love it here. I love the guys here. The coaches are awesome. I mean, they're the best. I believe they're the best coaches in the conference and in the nation. So who better to learn from? Also, I look past football because I know football doesn't last forever. And, the connections here that I would get, the networking that I would get will, set me up for a great job afterwards, and the education here also is really good. So that's probably the biggest reason I've stayed besides, loving who I'm with.
Hey, Nate, I wanted to ask about special teams as it relates to a new guy coming in with Cochran. Beyond him being there, have you noticed anything that's changed that resulted that game? All the results that you had at Arkansas seemed pretty dominant on Saturday.
Yeah, since Coach Cochran's gotten here, special teams has always been a huge deal to Coach Smart. But having Coach Cochran here and then Coach Hartley as well doing the special teams, they bring that juice every day that wants or makes us want to get better at special teams because, special teams is also a very big avenue that could lead you straight into the pros. And, you might not start on defense or offense, but if you're on special teams and you get into the league and you play on special teams, that's $600K a year. And that sounds pretty nice.
Dash, then Julian, please.
Hey, Nate, good to see you, man. Aziz was asked this question a little bit ago as far as the crowd noise, the artificial noise and whatnot. at Arkansas the other day. How much did it seem like a regular road game? How much difference was it? Could you tell what was real and what was fake?
Honestly, I overheard Aziz, and I would agree with him. It sounded pretty real, and we get that same, crowd noise with over the speakers or whatever in practice as well, and it sounds real. In practice, it's a lot louder, so it kind of hurts your ears sometimes. But when you're in there, you honestly don't even hear it because you're focused in on what you got to do. But like Aziz said, I mean, it sounded pretty real, and especially with the other fans, yelling as well.
Hey, Nate. So just to talk about Arkansas and preparing for Auburn, all position groups turned a corner against Arkansas, but needed to be woken up a little bit, it seemed like. So how do you cut that time needed to really get up to game speed, and how important is it to do that faster against Auburn?
I mean, it all starts with practice. You practice harder than the game would be, so it'll make the game easy. And that's what the coaches, they really think is a big deal. Always make practice harder. We got to, take each rep like it is a game. We got to do different things, like run to the ball when, we're tired, because that's what you're going to do in the game. So you simulate the game in practice as much as you can. So when you get to the game, it makes it a lot easier.